Welcome. For some reason, I'm just seeing a black screen. Well, I hope it started now. I was just seeing a black screen, so I'm very sorry about that. My goodness me, why do I always have problems when I am trying to do a live stream? Recording's no problem. In fact, I tried to start this before and I hit start recording instead of start streaming. So, and then for some reason, YouTube was lagging behind. I just saw a black screen. So very sorry for that intro. Yeah, terrible. Right, so now, XOutput. It's an alternative to x360ce, which I have been using for years, and it has been a saviour. And at the end of the day, because Sony, Microsoft, these major companies, they're monopolising the industry for controllers, especially when it comes to bike games, things like that. Because there's nothing else out on the market, they know they can, and therefore they really make it very, very hard for someone like myself to really get going in the world and make a product and get it out there, because all their software is written for gamepads. And yeah, I mean, this, if you look in the left hand corner, you'll see, yeah, gamepad, great, that is riding a motorbike. No, sorry, I just can't do it. I need a set of handlebars, I need a throttle, I need a brake, I need a hydraulic brake, I need a clutch. So without me getting into a whole thing of it, X360 has really saved me, and I should have really looked up the guy's name that wrote the program, but thank you so much for that, sir. It hasn't been updated since, I think, 2015. Last version was 4.17, which I've been using until this week, actually. So I found this a couple of days ago, this XOutput, and it can't be adjusted like X360, but just literally when you start up riding in Ride, MotoGP, whatever, it just plain and simply works. And so I've been testing it, and I've had to even test GTA 5 because of I need software with traffic, pedestrians, for the Malaysians, but it just seems to work. So I thought, right, most of the tutorials are not really good, so I try and do a tutorial today, and let's hope I can get it there, because you can also have multiple setups, which is very handy. So to start with, right now, and the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to show you how it actually functions together with Windows, so you get a better understanding. So right now I've only got my CBR 1000, which you can see in the right hand upper corner. Those are the handlebars that are now plugged in. So, and I'll remember this, I have to click on the properties window so you can actually see. But if I come over, grab bars, if you look at the square box in the middle, see, leaning left and right, it's going to be very small. They need to make that visually better. But now if I grab my throttle, you can see my throttle action, my front brake, my clutch, rear brake. Then mine's a prototype, and I'm playing around with these thumbsticks. And I've got this set up at the moment for the left axis, Y axis, and the right thumbstick, X axis. And I've got something else set up for the other axis that I've not got on the moment. that's just showing you that's the only system, only controller that is right now wired into my computer, and that's all Windows is seeing. So now what I'm going to do is this system here in front of me. This is a desktop, so if you look at the left hand video screen, it's a desktop. This is very, very basic. It's got the minimal buttons and everything and controls on it. It's basically got your steering, so the leaning, it works on lean angle of the bike. It doesn't work on turning your handlebars because that just does not work. Works on the lean angle of the bike. Then I've got a clutch, which is Hs sensor, throttle is Hs sensor, and then hydraulic brake, which is with a pressure transducer. So I'm going to plug that in now, and as you can see in this one window here and that, so if I close, I've got to remember I've got to close this off. So this window here, you'll see I've got Hs3 Street Fighter Pro only one time. Now I'm going to plug these handlebars in, and the one thing is, it's my firmware, it says the same name, so you see one's come up underneath, but it's actually got its own individual ID number that Windows will recognize, so it does recognize between the two. So if you remember, if I go to the properties, that's my CBR properties. I close that. Now open this, and this is now the setup for this one on the desktop in front of me. And you can see I've got my handlebars, my clutch, my front brake, and my throttle. It has the basics. Doesn't have rear brake, it's got no foot controls, doesn't have the foot control gear shift, doesn't have the foot control rear brake. It's the base minimum unit. And yeah, they don't come with a steering damper, but I always ride with the steering damper. So I get that out of the way. So now you can see there's two systems up, and what I'm going to do is, before I start getting into installing XOutput, I'm just going to show you what we're going to deal with. So now, very basic, we've got a lean angle of the bike, or it's going to be the left thumbstick x-axis. Then we've got my throttle, that will be the right trigger. Front brake, which you can't see, it's behind the throttle. Front brake is the left trigger. Then, because these are full pull, so you've got to have a full axis, you can't have a half axis like on a thumbstick. So my clutch, unfortunately, I have to do to the left thumbstick press. So that's my clutch. Then we've got three clusters of buttons, a lower, upper, and an upper on the right. So the way I do it is I use one button for A, next one for B, up here I go for X, this I go for Y. Then here I've got my D-pad up, D-pad down. Then we've got a slider switch on these, so I do basically, that's going to be D-pad left, D-pad right. Then the slider on this one I do for bumper right, bumper left, and then the slider on this one I do for back and start. And there you've got your basics. It's a basic system without foot controls. It's totally different for me, but that's the basic system. So that's the one we're going to actually add in. So I thought it's best to actually show you what I'm doing, because I'm going to minimize the window so that you can actually see the control program while I'm installing it. So let's get this out the way. I told you it's going to be bloody boring. Right, so I can in fact get Brio I've got to keep. I've got to think about which cam I'm going to turn off. I'm going to turn off that one. Right, okay. So this one I'll keep up for now. So basically now, XOutput. I haven't added any links yet. I'll have to add some links. But basically, if you email me or send me a message here on YouTube, I will email you the package, which is, most people have just been using what's called XOutput and not the other files when they install it. And the way I'm going to show you is the way that I learned, which seems to be better because it has a little bit more to it. So basically, before we open XOutput, you will want to go to, and like I say, I'll send some links, but if you just search XOutput on Google or whatever, you'll want the one that goes to GitHub. You click on the one that goes to GitHub, you scroll down and you'll see where it says releases on the right hand side, and where it says releases on the right hand side, there'll be in green or whatever colour. I've got my whole thing on dark mode, but it comes up green. But right at the moment, XOutput 3.32 is the latest version, and that was released February 2021, so quite a while ago. That's the latest. But if you click on that one, that will then download the latest version. But that'll only be XOutput on its own, which I think you can actually use. But the video I watched for the install had additional software because, and I will actually go to this window here, it does require that you have certain DirectX files and certain Windows runtime files. So if you were to start it and it didn't work, it's because you'll need DirectX files or Windows runtimes, and you've got to have the X360 controller driver, which if you've got Windows 10 or 11, you will actually have. That'll be inbuilt into it. But just in case, it might be your Windows runtimes or X360 controller driver. Like I said, Windows 10 or 11, you're going to have that automatically. But those are what it really needs. Now, the additional ones that I have, apart from those, and is this Hs3 and VGE MBus. And what they do is they actually have what's called an SCP driver, which a lot of games require. So it's that you can use it in a lot more games and it will be more compatible. It's best to have that you install these two with it. So install method, pretty straightforward. Like I say, if you actually ask me, I'll send you a RAR file with these three folders in it, which is Hs3, VGE MBus and XOutput itself. So first one you need to install is this Hs3. What this does, it's to do with the HID, so the HID number. It makes it so that it's more compatible for games, because certain ones you have to make sure they've got the number there recognised. Why it says Hs3 I don't know, but it's needed. When you install any of this software, because it's to do with the main, a controller is a solid part. It's supposed to be part of the computer system. It's giving direct input. Therefore, it's important. When you install software, always install it as administrator. So simply right click, run as administrator. Now, obviously, I've got this installed. So I don't really want to install it. You can see if I try and install it, it's going to say modify, repair, remove. I'm just going to cancel. But all you do is you click next, and then it will actually put a little window up there saying run as administrator. You want to make sure you check that as well. Now the reason I can't, if I uninstall this, I'm going to have to reboot my computer and blah blah blah, but it's just straightforward. You simply right click, say run as administrator, and that, and carry on through, and you'll be good. I'm just going to stop it. I don't need. And then once you've done that one, it will ask you to reboot your computer. Don't reboot. Simply go back. Now you go to VGE M bus, and you want to do exactly the same. Run as administrator. Click next. I can't do it because I've already got it installed, so I'm just going to say cancel and that, and finish. So once you've installed both of those, then you will need to reboot your computer. So reboot your computer, and then go back to the folder again where you've got these three in it. Then literally this XOutput exe is the exe. It doesn't need to be installed, so you can go back. I recommend what you do, because this will, once you start it the first time, it will create two files. It will create a log file and an ini file. So what you want to do, I'd say, is make a copy of it. And I've literally, what I've done is I've put it in my C drive. So I've got a folder called XOutput on my C drive directly, and you can see there it's actually, once you start it the first time, it creates an XOutput log file and a JSON file. So that's basically, just make a copy of it, save it somewhere else, but make a copy and put it basically, I'll find it again, where are we? Downloads. It's in vote, and basically just make a link on your desktop, and you can see I've got one here. I've just got a shortcut up here for XOutput, so as soon as I start that, which we'll do in a second, then yeah, that's all you have to do, and it's installed. Just remember, install those two programs as administrator, then reboot. Don't start up XOutput until you've rebooted. Reboot, get back in, make sure you've got XOutput folder on C drive, you've got a shortcut somewhere where you know where it is, and now that's what we're going to do. And if you look here in the corner, you can see I've still got two Hs3 Street Fighter Pros still sitting here. They're both connected. Okay, now I'm going to open up XOutput, pull it over here, and now what you can see is I've got it show all input devices clicked here. This is your startup screen, but if you note here, it's got everything I've got, but it's got one Hs3, another Hs3, so it's showing both my Hs3s. Where's my keyboard? And then it's got my keyboard and my mouse. Well, I've already installed this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this bottom one. This top one is for my controller. Now, if you notice, we've still got two here. If I was to click start, all of a sudden, we've got an Xbox 360 here. So basically what this done, and I think if I open up here and come on, I should be able to walk over and you can see my steering. Now this is where, because this is doing it for an Xbox, it's working on the Z-axis, goes two ways because it's working on the triggers, and it's not showing clutch or anything like that. It's showing what an Xbox would show. But I'm not going to go through it, but it's perfectly okay. But you can see I've now got 3 control systems sitting there. But what this is about now is I want to set up this on XOutput, so I can then use that. So what I do is you go here and you click Add Controller. So now basically what we're going to do is we're going to be using these handlebars here. So when I click Edit, it's going to look for, and you always have to drag this window. This is where I'm going to now shut off the Brio. So now all of this, if you look at the bottom, it says configure all. And what that does is it brings you up a little video where it will flash, and you've got to follow it with your controller and press to configure. But it's so fast because they're thinking you're trying to configure maybe a PS5 controller or another, which is basically the same as an Xbox controller. So you've got it all there in front of you, quick to do. When you're doing it with the handlebars, you're going to be thinking about what button is going to work the best for you riding a bike, and therefore it takes you longer. So the best thing to do is to do it where you're basically, you do self-configuration like this, one at a time. I'm going to move this over. I think the best way to do this, on the right hand side, is the actual action. So once you configure something, you'll see it working on the right hand side. Configure means to configure a particular axis. LX is your left stick axis, and that's your left, so left stick horizontal, then left stick vertical, blah blah blah, all the way through, A button, B button. So what I'm going to show you is the basics with, this is a basic Hs3. I'm going to show you how to do it and what buttons to use. So you're not going to see this part of the screen because I'm going to hide it, but I'm going to tell you as I go through, and you can see on this side what I'm actually doing it for. So I'm going to restart my Brio again, bring it up a little bit bigger. Oh, I can't because you need to see the calibration window, but that'll have to do. But so I find I like to configure my buttons first. So first off, and I'm going to move this down, I'm going to move that window just a tad. Or what I need to do actually is move it over here. Because what you need to see is here, you've got to make sure that where it says maximum value, that it always goes to 100. So you want to do full movement of everything you do. Buttons, it won't matter, they're just a press. So first off, I want to calibrate, I want to configure my A button. I've pressed that, now it's saying A, so I come, and if you look in the center video window that I've got there, where I showed you my handlebars before, the lower left button, I'm going to press that, that's going to be my A. And then you click save. I was clicking on the video save. I got myself trapped again. So I pressed A, click save. Okay, and then I've got to do B, which is the next one, up. And click save. X button. Save. Y button. Save. what's that, left bumper, LB, oh, which one's bumper, which one's trigger? Right, I'm going to get start out the way first, which is the top cluster slider to the right. Then my back is the top slider to the left. I'm trying to figure out what one. Oh, it won't matter, it'll just tell me. Right, I've done something wrong here. I think I pressed my start. Yeah, I've got my button for my start. Configure. Start. Yeah, I mixed them up. You could see here I pushed it the wrong way. Dumbass. Right, which one is this? Oh, this is my bumper. So that's the lower cluster to the left. Save. Then the right bumper goes to the right. Save. Oh yeah, these are triggers. So left trigger. Oh no, that's thumbstick, dumbass. For the left thumbstick, I use the clutch. So pull my clutch in. Save that. What do I want? I'm not worried about the home button. Okay, D-pad. I come over to the right side, and here I'm going to go for D-pad up, right side, green, top one, save, down, save, left is the slider to the left. Unless you want to be backwards, you do it to the right. Okay, that's all my buttons. So now we want to do our steering. So, simply lean left and right. Make sure you do the full travel. Save. LY I'm leaving because I don't have anything for the y-axis on the left stick. Then I want to go to my left trigger. That is my front brake. And right trigger, throttle. And the others I cannot do on this because basically I don't have a thumb pad or anything. It's a minimal system, you know. But obviously being on a PC, if you need certain buttons, you've got your keyboard. This is minimum for riding in a game. Right, I've left this switch on. What one's stuck on? Oh, I forgot. Yes, the clutch. So the left trigger, which is LTB, I have to invert it. Because I'm using house sensors, they have to be wired in a certain way, and they're wired opposite to that of a genuine gamepad. So yeah, always check that. If you have a problem, it's because you might have to invert an axis. But otherwise, I think we're good to go. We've got full brake, the throttle, we can lean the bike. We're good to go, I think. Okay, so now all you do is you actually close this window. Then at the bottom here, it'll say save configuration. So I'm going to say save configuration. So I've got to stop because I still had the I still had it running for my system. So now if I start X360, no, it's X360, X output, I'm going to have to get used to it. X output, this one here is now this one, and it's not going to show, oh yeah it does, because it's working on the thumbstick, and this is for a gamepad. So that's throttle and that's brake, and clutch is going to be one of those little buttons which I can never see because they're too small, but one of these would light up, whichever one it is for the bumper. But it does show you've got your D-pad, shows that. The others are showing, it's so small you can't see. If I start up this here, if you look at buttons, it will show you each time I press a button that each and every one a button. Why is that suddenly not working? Oh, because it's working on position. Oh, that's working on the POV up here. Oh, I never realised that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, okay. So yeah, everything's working on that. So basically now, so I stop that. I can now choose, if I've got my CBR, I can use this one here at the top. If I've got this system plugged in, I can use this system. Now, if I wanted to use the same system, but have a different setup, i.e. different buttons to do different things, because maybe the game demands it, maybe it's a bit different and you want to use different buttons, you could have another setup and you wouldn't have to reprogram it every time. The only problem is it only ever says controller, and I can't see how the hell you can do that. It does state controller 1 here, that's the only thing I've seen, but yeah, that's the only thing. You'll just have to remember what one is what. But all you can do is, as long as you've got to stop them before you can edit them. So if you go to edit, you'll then see, I can see that is definitely going to be my CBR. Whereas if I open this one, it doesn't have everything done. So I know that's this set of handlebars in front of me. That's the difference. So that's basically all there is, and I've got to remember to save the config on this one. Okay, so that's all there is to the setup. Now all we've got to do is, so I can show you that not running any other software, it just plain and simply works. Now, one thing you want to do, go up to the top where it says Tools, Settings, and you can change your language. You can run it as star. I wouldn't recommend it because I don't know, might interfere with something. You can, I don't need to. Then it's got Hit Guardian, I don't know what that does, and Disable Automatic Device Status Detection. I guess that just means it's not going to recognise your system's in and you've got to tell it. So I don't recommend that. But anyhow, the only one you need is close application to tray. Okay, so when you want to close the controller window, it'll close the program and then it won't work anymore. So what you want to do is you want to click this, and that way when I click turn it off, it's actually been sent to my tray and it's sitting down here. You can see in the right hand corner, this is it, just here. I can double click, it will come open. But what you do is, so because we're testing this desktop system, we know it's the lower one, we're going to start it, close the window, we don't need this anymore. Right, one thing I noticed with Steam, if I started this after I had Steam open, Steam didn't recognize it automatically. Not sure what that's about, but we know it's definitely started. So now I'm going to start Steam. I've got major problems with my PC right now because Steam has for some reason made it that TT 3 won't recognize a standard Xbox controller. I have to make a special Steam controller setup in order to use TT 3. So there's something very wrong there and I'm extremely angry with them. Anyhow, luckily I managed to do it, but it's still very, very annoying. But everything else works fine. Now, I'm also peed at Ride 5 because they've put this anti-cheat software, so I can't do it in VR anymore. But I can Ride 4, so right at the moment, I'm just leaving, I'm naffed off with Ride 5, not going to use it for the moment, and that. Plus I like Okayama. I need to start learning tracks. So you can see here, you want a solid white controller that's saying it's fully supported. If I show you TT Isle of Man, it's got half a white controller because it's not recognising that there's a whole controller there. It's just totally screwed up. Anyhow, that's what you want to see, a solid white controller, Xbox 360. So we can start the game. Right, I need to figure out my window, don't I? Get it out of the way. Have it there so you can see I'm actually using the controller on, not fobbing you off. Look, 2 hands on the handlebars. Press the button. Right. So I can go down the menu, up menu, right, we're going to go race, single race, always have a cigarette before you go to the track. Now I think I put this on automatic because I don't have foot controls on this. It's a bit of a pain. But right, if I go down riding aids, oh bollocks, you dumbass, back up Alan, riding aids. Manual. So I have it on the bumper. My foot controls on my CBR, the right and left bumpers are on my foot controls for the gear shift. So the bumper's on this lower cluster. So yeah, I think I've got it started right. We'll soon find out if I can't shift up. Up, yes. Right, we got a gear. Ashtray. Right, trying to shift down is not easy. No, I can't shift with my thumb, dude. I really cannot shift with my thumb. So yeah, but it's all about the steering, and it feels pretty natural. I tell you what, being so far from my screen, I'm about 10 foot away. I'm forgetting I've got to change my thumb. So, I mean, I could get on my CBR and it'd be a totally different, or if I put it in automatic, it'd be different as well. But I think you're getting the idea that the most important point is kind of the steering itself is pretty damn precise. I feel it's got a bit of a delay in the center, but only a small amount. But I don't think it's too much where, see, I'm just trying to like potter with one hand at the moment, just to feel how it feels with just one hand just cruising. So that's the beauty of having a foot control, you can actually ride with one hand. But you see, it's not too bad. It's just a little bit laggy in the center, I think, but also you've got to remember the bike's set up in default. So, but that's without any kind of setup. In X360 you'd have had to play with anti-dead zone, a load of other stuff to possibly get it right. Whereas with this, and you see now I want to go out, so I go, which one was start? Does that start? Yeah, that one start. But you see, I can navigate the menus. Actually, here you just have to press the back button. So that's just in one game. Now, if I was to go to what are we? MotoGP23 using X360, I'd have to change the so I changed the amount of sensitivity in the middle of the steering. Whereas with this, I can't adjust anything, but it still feels good. I mean, really good. I don't feel I need to adjust that much. And I found that in the program, I can change the sensitivity in the settings. You can go to controller calibration, and in there you can change the sensitivity of the steering. So yeah, it really seems to work better than X360ce. That's why I've even been using it in GTA 5 and everything else I've tested it. It just works. All right. So on this, I need to do a bumper. I've got to do right bumper to get the single player. Quick mode. Load. so I can show you the way it actually is in game. It's just brilliant. I'm actually very, very impressed. Oh, how do I get changed my view? Back. Oh, that's back. Back is that one. I forgot. I do not like having to change with my hand. It's something you have to get used to, you know? Using my feet, I don't even have to think about it. How did I get into fifth? Way too late into there. Yeah, I can't change. I really cannot change using that switch. But the steering is, and it is seriously all about spot. You know what? Buttons are buttons. A button is a bloody button. But this is the important point. It's how does it feel? It's like I want to lean over. Have I got the right amount of lean? And it just feels right. And that's so, I mean, in MotoGP, they've actually got it, once you get halfway through, if you look, it suddenly goes really sharp. They've kind of got it going a little bit too sharp. Yeah, and being in third is not going to help there. But I hope that actually shows, you know, it really just plain and simply works. And that, so I hope that that will get some of you, if you've been having problems with X360, or if, so I'm going to have to make some more videos of the different versions I've got. Like I said, this is the base system. So, right, I need to go exit, yes. So basically, that is it. That should get you up and going. And I'd say, like I said, because you can actually do multiple setups. You see, I can actually now, because I've got my CBR and this, with X360, what I had to do to get it right, I really had to totally redo a program in order, redo 360 in order for it to match my bike against a set of desktop handlebars and vice versa. This means it just works, and I can do a setup, and that means I can pre-configure, because I have about 5 different configurations of handlebars, because I custom design and build, because I've got like those 5, I can have 5 different setups, and all I've got to do is remember what one's what. So I can say, right, top one is my CBR, the next one is the base unit, the next one's the next one up, and so on. But it'll mean if you're playing a different game, it'll help you out. So people, I hope that's helped some of you, and if you get to use it, enjoy it. I certainly have. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. which hopefully I actually want to do Okayama and have a good race on it and actually not be last or crash. That'd help for once and make a difference. So thank you for watching and goodbye.